Guide me among those whom thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what thou hast judged. Surely thou judgest, and none can judge against thee, and he whom thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art thou, O Lord, and exalted be thee above what they set up besides thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is thy servant and apostle. Amen.
You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39mm coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com. Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Peace and blessings. I am so excited about today's show. Look, y'all already know who I am. I don't think you'd be here if you didn't know who I am. Anyway, I'm Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I'm a multi-million-dollar business developer. Let me tell you something. I developed almost $250 million worth of businesses for somebody else before I even decided to do for self. But we're going to talk about today how we have those things inside of us that we have to learn how to discover, go inside of ourselves, and transform into a business. And my sister here today has done just that. And let me tell you something. Sit down, get you some tea. Right now I'm working with some chai tea that I made this morning. Get you some tea, get you some coffee. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page. Okay. If you like what you see here, make sure you like and subscribe to it. We're trying to get up to 1,000 subscribers. I had about 50,000 at one point. Then I got hacked or something crazy happened. But y'all know how this is. This is social media. Sometimes you say something folks don't like, and then they just take your thing down. I did a show on the data-driven economy, and I did a comparison and contrast of the economic conditions during which the Honorable Elijah Muhammad created the $75+ million empire, and today, and they took that thing down because I was giving us tools and strategies on how we can do it. But that's all right. We're going to get it done. Look, let me bring my sister in here. No time for delay. Sister Nayyirah, how are you? Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, beautiful. I am blessed and highly favored and thankful to Allah that I am here with you on your platform. So I'm excited.
I really appreciate it. We actually met on social media and, and connected. And I just thought, you know what? I get you. I see you and I get you. And that's why I'm excited to talk to you today, because I can see how you turned what someone else may have been victimized as a result of, or what would have maybe hurt somebody else. You turn that into an attribute and a gift and a way to help other people, not only just within our nation, but what I also love, because you do what I do in business, you do what you do, but then you infuse this great wisdom into what you do. And then you're giving it to people. A lot of times people don't even know what they're getting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is true. This is very true.
Tell us about your business and the things that you want the people to know about you. Because here's the thing, let me say this. When people ask me like, well, who are you? What do you do? I have a hard time responding, because one of the things that I've been working on for years now is to just reconcile all my gifts and talents and just monetize who I am. So I have a hard time picking, different things. And so I pick based on the show. And with you, I see so many gifts and so many talents. And so that's why I asked you, whatever you feel on your spirit of yourself that you want to share today, please put that in your introduction.
Absolutely. Well, let me first and foremost start it out like this. I am my mother's daughter. Okay, that's the first hat. And then, of course, I'm happily married of 23 years to my husband, David Muhammad. I have 5 beautiful children and 8 grandchildren. And with that being said, I am the founder of our foundation, Repair of the Black Family. I'm a transformational life coach, best-selling author, retreat leader, and overall, I am just your sister. I specialize in eradicating generational traumas, dramas, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns. And if I can just sum up me in one phrase, I am mission-minded. I love our people. I love working to help restore and repair humanity. And we can't do it without the Black man and woman, the Black family, right? And so I'm very passionate about being a servant leader. And I thank Allah for the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and being a student of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that helped me to tap into my purpose, to not just know my purpose, but work in it. And so with that being said, that's who I am. That's what I do. And that's how I show up in the world, you know, as a servant leader.
Yeah. You mentioned right off the bat, you talked about eradicating generational traumas and self-limiting beliefs. Talk about that. What does that mean?
Well, first and foremost, we're going to go a little bit of historical and just bring it up right down to present time. We know that we are a broken people. And for over 400 years of, you know, being in slavery and having to endure what we had to endure, we was reduced down from our godhood down to the slave mentality. And so as we look at that in 2022, no one is stopping us outside of us. It's the enemy that really facilitate those self-sabotaging behavior patterns. You know, we desire things, but we get in our own way. You know, and many times we have these limiting beliefs where we can't have, we don't have, we won't have, we will not, we won't reach, we won't do. And most time it's not even who we are, it's conditioning from our families, what we've seen our mothers do, our grandmothers do, because the time was different from them. They wasn't able to do, and we have accepted mindsets or culture in the family to behave and function like that's us. All we have to do is just be able to look to see what time frame we're in, and then fortify ourselves to be able to be, do, have, and give.
Yeah. You know, one of the things that I keep very strongly in my consciousness, that I am a continuation of them. So the things that my grandmother couldn't do, that I can do, I relish in that. I'm grateful for that. The things that my mother was not able to do, that I do, or places that I can be in that they aren't there. And I just continue that roll forward all the way back to the beginning of time, because what also is a blessing is the day and time in which we live. And so I always say to people, like, I'm really old. I've been around here trillions of years, and I know it and I can feel it. And so I just roll that forward as one body of one person, if you will, that understands. And so whenever I have a desire for something, I think about, who do I need to become in order to make that happen? And if it's not happening yet, that means I got some work to do on ourselves that are all up in me. Right?
Come on, that's the key right there. Our cells that hold memory, right? And we have the ability to reprogram those cells. And that's one of the things that I teach my students is, you know, your mind, your thoughts actually create your cells. And so, you know, with the power of I am, that's how we become, you know, and it's so much power in that, affirming ourselves and truly stepping into that I am who I am.
How did you get into this? Like, did you stumble into it? Was it something you just wanted to do? How did you get into this life work?
Well, of course, you know, like I said, coming into the Nation of Islam gave me purpose, serving as a student MGT captain for 22 years. And when my time was up with that, I just basically, the gifts and talents that I have and dealing with, I am known for auditing and Dianetics. And I was traveling around the country, helping people with mindset already. But when COVID happened, that shut down everything. And I had to shift, right? I had to shift. How do I use my gifts and talents? I have all of this energy, but we're confined in a home. And this is where the internet became my best friend. And so what I had to do is I started doing Zoom calls, you know, just offering my services across the internet through Zoom. And so what I realized is within the nation, you know, I'm developing and I'm helping so many people, but there was a lot of people outside of the nation that needed me just as much. And so I had to learn how to shift to maneuver my way in a personal development industry, if that makes sense. So I started investing in myself, taking classes, getting different certifications, so that now it becomes a business, you know, and that's what I did. So I turned a lot of my gifts, skills, and talents into it's my passion, but I made it into being able to serve where everybody can benefit from it.
That is so important, because I started this, when I got on this mission, I started a program called the Authentic You. And I branded this style of coaching called an authenticity coach. And my idea was to help, well, first for myself, to own and monetize my authenticity. Because for me, coming out of the business world, I'd go out and make a presentation or come up with a concept and develop it. And the first thing that the people on the other side of the table would do, sis, is they would be about trying to surgically dissect me from the concept, from the project. And I remember thinking to myself, either that's the underlay for the overplay, because they're trying to steal from me, or they don't think that I'm marketable. And so where does that come from? So I started just looking at that throughout history, where we have a long history as a people of coming up with great ideas and being something, but giving it away. Yes. And then you and I are talking about, you had this great passion, all this talent. You have an amazing resume. And so you were able to go inside yourself and say, how do I use who I am and monetize my authenticity? And that's something that nobody can take away from you, because nobody else is you. Nobody has all those years. Nobody else is your mother's daughter just the way you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'll say this, you know, being a servant leader, what I have found for me is oftentimes we give that which we lack, right? And coming up in my family, I always desired to have that holistic family, right? You know, that family that was like the ideal scene for me was the Cosby Show, and my auntie Beatrice and my uncle Jake in California. They was like my role model family. And trust this, my mother and my dad, may Allah be pleased with him, he's transitioned. They loved us very much, but they was teenage parents. Which means they lack the resources. And I'm the eldest out of 5. So a lot of responsibilities was put on me. I didn't have time to be that child. I had to grow up very fast. I remember cooking my first meal at 7 years old. You see? So with that being said, I always desired to have the ideal scene family. So the repairing of the Black family, if I've gone through it and I suffered through my mother and father's domestic violence, my mother and my dad being on drugs, and, you know, all of the things that typically we can go through in the home, right? And coming into the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and understanding my role, my value, who I am as a Black woman, I started to create that for myself. And then now I'm able to take that love of what I desired to have, but now my husband and I are creating it, but we get to give back. We get to make impact, you know? And one of the things is people do not care about what you know. They want to know how much you care. And so I care enough to say that if I can have it through my story, and I know my story is not limited, exclusive to just we're the only ones, but if I can have this, you can too.
So you're the eldest of 5 and you have 5 children?
That is correct. In the same order. Look at that.
Yeah, that just struck me. I said, there's something to that. And so I get the connection between your upbringing, your uniqueness, to what you've produced with your husband, Brother David, and the repair work. So you getting a chance to be that example, and you have a beautiful model based on how you grew up And those beautiful conditions, albeit however challenging they were,
That's right.
they created you and your beautiful family today. And so oftentimes when I see people like that, and I have to ask you this question, we talked about this earlier, how did you not become selfish and resentful, but yet you move forward and create an entire business and dedicate your whole life? And this ain't even you, sis. This is Allah. This is the universe, because you didn't have those children in that order and in that same way. You didn't orchestrate your life growing up being the eldest of 5 children. So this is part of your assignment that was given to you even before you was born.
Absolutely.
And so what I'm saying for you is that you didn't miss the assignment that Allah gave for you by not being, with some people, we get selfish. Shoot, I done raised all these children and I had to do this and do that. I'm on my own. I don't care nothing about nobody else. But now you are consciously dedicating your life. See, Allah threw you an alley-oop. Why do you care so much about people? Why didn't you just go on and say, you know what, honey, let's just make our money, forget these people. I'm not going to be helping all these other folks.
Absolutely. We're taught in the Nation of Islam, desire feeds the will.
Right.
And my desire to be what Allah called me to be, which is a servant, gives me the fuel. I wouldn't be where I am if I had not heard the voice of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. Straight up.
Amen.
Because living in the world and not understanding my value, I had that mentality. I don't do women, the things that we go through.
Did that wake you up to that purpose? Like now,
yes, it woke me up. And serving women helped me to see who I am. Right? I had to every aspect of the Black woman that I had to be there for her and didn't know how. She was teaching me about me. Every sister that I have ever had the pleasure, and that Allah still allows me to have the pleasure to serve, they teach me about me.
Yes.
And because I want to rid myself of impediments and become perfect enough for the Father. That's what drives my love, because I know all of us possess that quality. We just need somebody to, like Maya Angelou say, people don't remember what you say or what you did, but they remember how you made them feel. So we just need somebody who can sit there with us and help us to feel that we are worthy of Allah's love, that we are worthy of his presence. And we just have to continue to purify ourselves. So my love, what makes me love our people and women, our people, but women in particular, is because I am and I have been a suffering Black woman that's drawing nearer to the God. And I desire to be one of the ones, one of the ones to bring in the hereafter, to secure the hereafter while we're establishing the kingdom of God here on earth. It is my true love for him.
But you didn't start out like that. You kind of fell into that because at first you was like, I don't want to be bothered with no sisters. Nope. How did that transformation happen?
So when I joined the Nation of Islam, I was 23 years old. And remember, I had a bunch of children. And as soon as I came into the nation, I was put into a position within the first 2 months. And I had to learn how to love women. I had to learn that. I had to learn how to serve women.
What city was this?
St. Petersburg, Florida.
Okay. In the 90s?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. No, I'm sorry. Excuse me. It was 2000.
Okay.
Well, I came in 96, 97, but I officially got registered in 2000.
I asked that because I came in the 90s. And I know how we were so short-staffed on everything back then. I remember being put on posts and I didn't even have my ex.
Exactly. And I didn't know. I didn't know nothing.
Okay.
And so on the post, through my service, again, like I said, it taught me, Allah taught me, and circumstances taught me, and conditions. But the thing is, how I was taught is because I was willing. I was willing to learn from my mistakes. I was willing to serve the women through all of the hurts and pains. I still, even to this moment, I love the woman, but again, I had to grow into that love. And the more I grew and the more I grow, I understand that really all of that is true. When we say I'm just a reflection of you, that's not just in the beauty, that's in the ugly too.
So you allowed Allah to save your life, and you surrendered, and then He taught you.
And He taught me. Because listen, I came up, it's true, I came up through some of the worst conditions. And so when I got into Islam, it's truly life saving for me. It's like I turned my back on Satan's world and I didn't look back, like Lot's wife. I through everything, I did not look back. And so as I continue to maneuver and go through what I have to go through, it continues to fortify and charge up my love for our people, love for our women, and really the love for the Black family. I do a lot of work with the women, but I desire to see the Black family to be the family of God, of Allah.
Yeah, because I can relate to that, sis, because I will tell you, when I first started doing my podcast, The Mind of an Entrepreneur, I knew that Allah had a calling and wanted me to do something, because the desire was so strong. And sometimes I would be on my podcast and it wouldn't be nobody on there but me. I didn't care. And then I started getting guests, like at least there'll be one other person. And then, and as it turns out, some of those old shows are some of my more popular shows. But I'm going to tell you what happened to me. I thought that this is still something that baffles me to this day. I don't know what Allah wants from this, but I thought that, like you, because I was put in orientation as an orientation teacher 2 weeks after I got my ex. And the idea was, my sister captain said, because I was supposed to be moving to Chicago to go work in the National Secretary's office and to help the minister, she said, well, if I put you in orientation, you will learn. And so I was so excited about orienting women to a new way of life. I've continued to do it even after having been that orientation instructor for 7 years. I still am orienting people towards the truth. And so I thought, sis, that as I navigated the world of business, oftentimes I was kind of alone, the only Black woman. I felt like Hagar, like Allah was moving me all around, and I didn't understand what it meant. I would just cry at night, but get up in the daytime, go, I got to accept these blessings. And I thought that I would be serving women to help women in business. Very early on, the majority of the demographics of my followers were men. Even to this day, 68% of my followers are Black males. And when I was on syndicated radio, I remember them coming to me saying, have you looked at your demographics? And I was like, no, what? They said, do you know that 62% of your followers are Black men? So that put me in a position where nobody knew what to do with me. I don't know what she can't sell earrings. She can't, And so I find it very fascinating at how Allah moves us around. And I have just decided that I used to say that I practice allowing, but I feel like that's a little arrogant. Because by saying allow, it's like, who am I to allow? Who am I to say I submit? I really don't have a choice. So I just said, I just practice being. And if I practice being, because allowing has a emotional charge to it.
Come on, teach.
Submitting has an emotional charge to it. Even though that's the language that's used in our Holy Quran, the submission piece of it means that your ego gets activated. because you got to define who you are, and you got to define what that person or that thing is, and then you got to define the distance and figure out how to submit. So I say, you know what? That's all the wrong language. I used to say it all the time, but now I said, I practice being. And I ask Allah, who do I need to be? Walk into what I showed, what you allowed me to show up on the planet to be. You was thinking something.
Yes, yes.
You decided that you wanted to come through these two people that became my parents. You was thinking something. You said, I'm showing up like this.
Yes.
So how do I show up as you intended? That means I have to be. And so as I'm listening to you, and I'm listening to you talk about what you've gone through and the challenges you've had, the images from your parents being the oldest of 5 and their teenage parents, they're struggling through the vicissitudes of life. But I'm looking at the magical orchestration of Allah to put you together like this. And then he brings you in the nation, thrusts you in front of sisters for 22 years that you're helping, and you don't know them, you don't know how to help them, and you don't even know who you are yourself.
And didn't know how to help myself, but we in the Christian church will say, but God. Right. And so I'm grateful that he chose me, you know, and I know that he chose me. And as I think about the majesty of Allah bringing me through my mother's womb, she is one of the people, she is the person, the first person on my list outside of Allah that I truly strive to make her proud. You know, that her womb produced a savior. You know, my mother, if I may tell a little small story, my mother did not graduate from high school. And her whole thing for her children, she has 5 of us, was to just finish high school, bring me that diploma. And so that's what we strove to do. We got the diploma. But after that, it was like completion, right? Like, whew, I did that, you know, and I desired to go to college, and I did as much as college as I could, but the nation called me. And so with that being said, my sisters and, you know, everybody went on and they got their degrees, you know, and I didn't get what I would call a degree, but I got a degree from the Father, you know. And so when I do things, you know, it's like, is my mom proud? You know, my mom is proud, you know, that her womb produced a savior. You know, her womb produced a woman of God. Like, I am that daughter that kind of helps the family get connected to the way. Right. You see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm very happy. I'm very humbled that Allah would choose me. He always chooses one in every family, and I am the chosen one to be able to show forth who my mother is, you know, because I am she and she is me, you know. So
that is so beautiful. It's so beautiful, because when I think about my mother, I think about how happy I am for her when I do something that she's proud of. You know, because it's just a true blessing. And I want to go back to the women, and I want to talk about this whole concept of how do we become our feminine selves. I have people say to me, well, you know what, Sister Sajdah, you have 60-something% men because of femininity personified. And I said, well, what does that mean? You know, and for me, my background is a little different. I grew up with mother and father, a father who was very big in my life, and I've had a lot of very key men who have been fathers to me, very influential men who, and I think that allowed me the freedom to be my feminine self, because I think a lot of times as women, we go through so much, and we got to be both the male and the female, because we're just trying to defend ourselves and navigate. But the beauty of what you do, and you're talking about the repair of the Black family, going back to being, when those structures are in place, it allows that young woman and that young man to just be.
Absolutely. This is very true. And so in the life coaching industry, as a life coach and as a woman of God, the first thing I help women to do is tap it into that you are the second self of God, right? And as the second self of God, we have intuition. Lean into your intuition, right? Lean into that little girl that's been crying out for you, right? Self-care, self-love starts from within. It's not an outer journey, it's the inner journey that reflects on the outside, right? Connecting with other women actually helps us to develop our feminine side.
Right.
Connecting, right? Allowing,
right?
Take these attributes really and practice it. Right. So I practice different attributes of being not just femininity, but divine feminine energy. And I put focus on that.
I like that you brought that up, because a lot of people hear us say that in the Nation of Islam. And I had a sister that DM'd me one time. She said, "What does that mean?" And I said, "Sis, you're his first creation. After he created himself out of triple darkness, he went back into himself and created you." And she hit me back, and I remember saying this even to sisters in orientation, and they would just cry. Because I think sometimes we don't think about we know why, all this whole thing about you from the rib and all of that, we just don't think about that. You talked about this little girl, and I want to dig into that a little bit more, because in that inner girl, that little girl, is so much of our life psychology, right? I used to have, Sister Nayyirah, this dream. I think I'm the kind of person, some people dream every night, you know what I mean? I have recurring dreams that will go on for years. And I had this one recurring dream where I saw myself as a little girl sitting up on top of a shrink-wrapped pallet of money. And as a business person, I'd come in, sometimes I'd have on my suit, whatever I was wearing that day, and this dream went on for years. I would come into that room and I'd see myself sitting up on the pallet, but I could not figure out how to get myself down. It was too tall, for me to reach up and have the little girl come down into my arms. And I want to say maybe this went on for 7 or 8 years. And do you know what, sis? One day I started just really studying, and I got into this whole concept of being versus allowing and all of that, and just really started practicing being. One day I had the dream, and I walked in the room, didn't even know they had, all these years, there was some stairs on the side.
Come on.
I walked up the stairs, picked myself up, and flew out over this whole warehouse of stuff. And then we just went on, and the dream never came back. And I said, I could have stopped it a long time ago.
Yep. Yes, ma'am. That's the moment you became free. And that's one of the techniques that I teach and train the women that's in my life coaching. And that is to be able to confront, be willing to experience that little girl. Look at her fears, right? And let's see how we can face those fears and move through those fears, right? Just pick one. Look at that little girl. What is she afraid of? Let's go to the age of 6. Let's go to the age of 10. And when I go through these,
let me tell you this. Let me just give you this, because you're right on point. I always hated how sensitive I am. Always hated it. Couldn't stand it, because I would literally get so impacted by what was going on around me. And I was very sensitive, and very much like you, I took what that little girl was insecure about. And I didn't do this till I was grown. This didn't happen no long time ago. And I said, Well, if she's sensitive, that means that's probably why she can sit at the boardroom and see the things nobody else can see.
There you
That's
go.
why she can put a project together and the minister talk about her attention to detail down to the mustard seed. That's that sensitivity. And I said,
That's
oh,
that sensitivity. Yep.
let me develop this and
There you
expand
go.
on this, right, as a product. And so that's
There
why
you
I
go.
love what you're doing, where you take the sisters back to that little girl.
To that little girl.
What does she
And
need?
address her fears and address her desires. What is that one thing that you always wanted that you don't have? Let's look at that. Let's go to when you was 15 and you had your easy bake oven and you wanted to become the baker and you didn't become the baker. Let's see how we can manifest that in present time. You know, do you want to rekindle that purpose? Right? So I get sisters to go back and look, because most times what I have found is we stop looking.
Ooh.
We stop looking, especially, you know how we do. I don't want to deal with that. Let that go. That's too fast. But with the moment we can look, the moment we can become. Right. So my training, I help people to look. I help sisters to look, not just sisters. I work with men too, but I'm for the woman, but I get them to look. I get them to face. I get them to be willing to experience. And let's come through. We're talking about eradicating generational traumas, drama, limiting beliefs, and self-sabotaging behavior patterns. Let's look. Now let's look. Let's analyze, right? Let's dissect this. And now let's make the decision. That's the power. We can change anything with the decision to be, to do, to have. So I help people, believe it or not, we're very indecisive people. I help people to make a decision to say yes to themselves.
Yeah. Sis, why do we stop looking?
Because the mind automatically shuts down when pain comes.
Okay.
So when pain is there, automatically the mind shuts itself to protect itself, right? And so we stop looking. So if it's painful for us, if it's uncomfortable, if it's something that's unusual or whatever, that we don't have enough level of confront, boom, the mind is going to shut itself down. However, as a God, we are bigger than our minds. That's the part that we don't really hone in to. We are not a mind, we have a mind. And so when you learn how to control, start, change, and stop your mind at will, you exercising your God power. A lot of us don't know how to exercise that God power to the fullest potential. We can have all of the words, but what is the application of the word?
Right. That's beautiful, sis. I want to talk about your services because they are so needed. And I think I told you that a lot of people think that they can pinch off. No, I just want to start a good business. No, I just want to have a family. All these things are connected and interconnected. And so I want to talk about your business and what are some of the services that people can receive from you.
Okay, beautiful. So our foundation is Repair the Black Family. It's a life coaching business, and we help people holistically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And so one can come and get individual services, get counseling as couples counseling, and also on the holistic side, physical. Right now I'm studying to become an herbalist, but we provide herbs, we provide sea moss, we provide holistic health products that will help facilitate the body. And so I do a lot of group coaching, individual coaching, and then I'm also a retreat leader. And that is another way that we're using our gifts and talents to help break limiting beliefs, because, many of us don't know how to travel, when to travel, or what to do as we travel, don't have a passport, these types of services. So one can come to me specifically as a life coach and get help to what I do is specialize in generational traumas, and really to just really help mindset shift, because generational trauma is not just pain, it's business too, it's finances too, so
there's a whole money psychology that I work to help people unwrap and they don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
They would understand. First, we identify their money psychology, and that takes one-on-one coaching. So I understand
Absolutely.
that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so we try to provide a manual, a blueprint on how to individually, because to repair the family, you got to start with yourself first, right? How do you do that? What do you need help with? You know, find out what's needed and wanted, and then bring that person from one state of existence to another. So we help people to change conditions of life.
Okay. I got it. And so, are you seeing an influx of women who understand the importance of coaching?
No.
Okay.
That is something that we have to constantly train. People want it, but they don't want to invest in themselves.
Okay.
Right. And so we have to continuously get people to understand the value of investing in yourself with someone who invests in themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So attaching this money, this is interesting. Attaching this money that you get to yourself, this money you value it so much that you go to work all day, do what's a lot of times you don't want to do to get this money, but yet you don't value yourself enough to take that money that you've exchanged time and service for to put it into yourself.
Absolutely, because see, you can't put on mindset like you can put on this shirt and see the value of that, right? You can't, you're gonna buy you a nice Birkin bag. You can feel that, you can touch that, but you can't touch that mindset. So we have to get, if you're talking about limiting beliefs, we got to get people to shift that when you invest in your mind, you invest in your spirit, you invest in, your energy. Guess what? It's gonna produce more. So to give up the money is an attention unit. I'm helping you to place attention on yourself, right? But it just have the value of what we see as valuable in this world. But really, you can't pay for improving yourself. But time, what they say, time is money, money is time. So you got to be willing to invest in yourself, and it's called exchange. And that's what we have to continuously to break mindsets on exchange, because we are a people that want things for free.
Yeah, we have to elevate our thinking. I was telling people that I probably spent hundreds of thousands of dollars, that's after college, on certifications and classes and webinars and retreats. And there's some of them that I didn't get that much out of. There's others that I got a lot out of, but what I got out of everything was my certainty. Absolutely. Each time I became more and more certain about who I am and the direction that I was going. So I'm encouraging everybody who's watching. Our sister is offering coaching services that you can invest in, because if you like that Birkin bag so good, and let's say you just start off because you want more Birkin bags. Let's just keep it on the primal level. You say, I want a new car and I want 2-3 other Birkin bags. Well, you got to figure out how to be in order to earn more money to go get what you want. But through that process of sitting with my sister, you will transition from just wanting more material stuff to wanting to be a better person, and to wanting to be a better woman, and wanting to be a more holistic woman that's aligned with a spiritual purpose and discovers who she is. So that's why I wanted to just dissect a little bit the importance of what it is that you do. If you get a coach like my sister, think of it this way. If she was your tennis coach and you were playing tennis and you kept hitting the ball into the net, my sister would come and say, I'm watching your swing. I'm watching your body. What you need to do is bend your legs a little bit. Turn your racket like this. Twist your wrists like that. So she's tweaking. She's not trying to turn you into herself. She's just tweaking what you're probably already doing and infusing into your I guess you could call it your toolkit, other tools that you can use to take yourself to that next level.
Absolutely. And Sister Sajdah, one of the things that I have come to understand is life is about fulfillment. And we should desire to rob the grave of our gifts, skills, talents. Many people have left this world unfulfilled.
Yeah.
And we can become unfulfilled because we're stuck in cycles and patterns that no longer serve us. And as a life coach, what I found is you have to be the type of person to hold a vision for a person until they can hold their own vision, or believe in that person enough until they can believe into themselves. So I'm a vision holder, right? I can hold a person's vision until they're ready to hold that vision for themselves. I can believe in a person until they can truly believe in themselves. And that's the benefit of having a coach. That's the benefit of having a mentor. That person is a vision holder for you. That person is a person that can believe in you until you can believe in yourself. But it takes humility. It takes transparency. It takes vulnerability that, you know what? I got some things that I got to really now look at. And I need somebody to help me to look, because it's not easy to look at our own impediments. But this person, a person like Sister Nayyirah, is going to do it with care, understand it, and truly experience, because I've been there in most places, right? And I knew what it took for me to mind myself out. And I haven't arrived, but I'm continuously minding myself out so that I can be who Allah called me to be. And so as a life coach, I encourage my students, let me be your vision holder. Let somebody take care of you. Because oftentimes we are pouring into somebody else's vision. We're pouring into somebody else's job. We're pouring into all, and we come and we are empty cups and we're running off of fumes.
Yeah.
But we have to know how to refuel ourselves so that we can now live life in fulfillment.
So are you seeing sisters coming to you, like you said, now they're coming, they're empty vessels, they're just tired, they're kind of just washed up by the sea? Or are you seeing sisters come in at a more advanced level where they're like, look, I'm ready to work on this or that? Which are you seeing more of?
I say it's a little bit of both. Like I just did a retreat in Egypt, a transformational life coaching retreat, and I was blessed to have some sisters, what we terminology is lost founds, doctors, teachers, and they was just coming because they was going to Egypt, but they didn't realize how much repair work that they needed until they got it by Allah's permission in the presence of Sister Nayyirah. And to the point where, these sisters was like, this is all you're charging for this? Like, this retreat needs to be X, Y, and Z, because they understand the value of what Allah blessed me to do with them in their lives, as professions, right? And that's one spectrum. Professional people understand the value of what a person like me have to offer, but they don't know how to find it, right? And so then you have the other spectrum is some of us, we just sick and tired, and we in my term, we just out of gas. And Sister Nayyirah, I need you. I need help. I'm hurting. Whatever it is, I want to discover myself, because they hear me speak, and by Allah's permission, by the time that I'm finished with them, they have that revived purpose, or they understand their purpose, or they've gotten to a space where I can do this. I can run another leg of the race.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Can someone put my sister's website in the chat so I can put it up? Because I want people to sign up, inshallah, from this show. You get so busy that you have to just stop people and you can't do it anymore. You got to go to more group sessions. And what I would ask of you, sis, is that you make sure you take care of yourself.
Absolutely.
Because you're a beautiful tool and a beautiful vessel. And we need you. The world needs you. The universe needs you. Allah has something he wanted to say when he decided to come forth as you. And so there's so much more. This is just what Spirit's telling me to say to you.
Yeah.
There's so much more that he has even yet. This is a stop in a long journey of what he wanted to say to you. And so you just keep going, keep taking care of yourself so that your stamina can be strong, so that you can withstand and become who you need to become for that next level.
Mm-hmm.
Because we need you.
Yes,
We
ma'am.
need you, and we need you, and we love you. And so you are repairing the Black family, but my sister needs preservation and repairing and love too.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am. And I received that. Thank you very much.
Don't forget yourself, sis.
Yes, ma'am.
There's so much
Absolutely.
work out here to do that sometimes we forget to just love on ourselves. It could be something simple like make sure that on our agenda twice a week we cook ourselves a good meal.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, we know the obvious things like we gotta go to the
Yes.
gym.
Yes.
Sometimes it's just that simple.
Yes, ma'am.
You know,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
let me love on myself for
Absolutely.
me. Celebrate and say and be grateful for yourself and what you've come through.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Thank you so much. I received that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I am just so grateful for you and what it is that you're doing. I would love to see you just continue to grow and expand. This is a tough industry. You know,
Yes, it is.
when I started doing work as you know, with my podcast, and then I started when I started doing like manifestation work and authenticity work. People in that industry who knew me, who had taken classes with me, who are now charging $5,000 for 3 sessions, they started emailing me and texting me and calling me like, what are you doing?
Right.
You can't be giving this away for free. I've been on your website or I'm on your YouTube and you talk too much. And I said, you know what? A lot of our people are not at the consciousness level where they can afford to pay $5,000, $50,000 for a retreat.
That's right. Come on now.
At another level. So one of the things that I did, I said, well, I'm going to flip the game around. I'm going to give away the game for free and just charge for services.
Right.
Because what I found as I was navigating and coming up is nobody was giving up the game.
That's
it was
right.
just pay me. Then I go to the classes, they give me the game. Okay, I got the game. I don't know what to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna give the game away and I'm gonna charge for services. And I see that that's what you do. They hear you speaking. You're giving people the technique. I call it game. I don't mean that to be disrespectful, but you're giving them the techniques. You're telling them what they need to do. You're telling them what the conditions of their life needs to be. And now you're saying, make a payment and get the service. You know, the car is broken. You want the car to last longer.
Right.
Get the services.
Get the services. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Any last words you want to say about your program? How you feeling? Just let me know, because this is how I see it, sis. You know, people will come to you and they'll pay for an experience. And you're offering people an experience that will change their lives, whether it's through your retreats, your one-on-one coaching, or your group coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And
Absolutely.
I'm telling people, I believe it will be worth it.
Yes, ma'am. And then we also have a book, The Repair of the Black Family Anthology. And so definitely I would encourage all to get the book. It's on Amazon, and you can get it from our website at www.repairoftheblackfamily.com. And so, you know, one of the greatest things that you have said is to celebrate. We must celebrate ourselves, count on you. And you do that by just taking one breath at a time. Breath is so precious. And sometimes we forget to breathe. And so I have to remind myself of that. Take a breath.
Right.
Yes, take a breath. So I thank you so very much for having me here. I definitely am a servant leader, and I'm willing to serve whoever Allah will bring into our sphere my love and I speak on behalf of my husband as well. And our passion is to help repair the Black family. We're mission minded and we're here to serve you.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. I wish you all more goodness and love than you've ever experienced or imagined. And I pray that you continue to go and just grow and grow and grow. And the sky's the limits for you. May Allah bless you, sis.
Thank you so much. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you all for listening today. I hope you all got something out of that. Let us know in the chat if you're listening here. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the page, okay? Because on the page, you'll get notifications when we post different things. You can go back and check out past episodes of any of the shows. A lot of my stuff is available on SoundCloud. I've been doing this since 2009. So I have a lot of content and I don't let up on the content. I write the shows and I put the shows together. So I'm grateful for you all. I will also ask you, if you're here and you love what you're receiving, don't chip and dip me. Don't come on here and get this $1 million word without making a donation or donating and giving something. I always teach you all in manifestation class that this is the movement, right? When we need something, we give. When we receive something, we don't hold on to it like we done stole it. We give some of it away, because what we're doing is we're creating this flow in our lives. So I'm asking you all that if you received anything, go to sajdahhousedonations.com. Help support me in the renovation and restoration of the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. A lot of people say, well, I don't want to donate on a website. You can go to the Cash App, $Mo today. You can go there and make a donation to the house. Whatever you got, $30, $100, everything helps. It takes a lot to maintain these big mansions, but we want to get the house done and we want to complete it. We're a little over 80% now. So the finish line is in sight and we need your help. Some of you all saw 2 weeks ago where the minister blessed me to be able to come up and to his presence at one of our business believers meetings. And so he said that we should support. So we could do that also by getting your commemorative Elijah coin. I was raised that whenever the minister say something, it's an instruction. That's how I see it. Everybody's different in how they do things, but as soon as he say, go do this, I try to find my way doing it. But here's the coin, okay? This coin was made of the copper from the messenger's home. On the back of this coin is a number. It's a registration number. You're going to need that number for your membership to the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, okay? I like these. A lot of people were looking for the pendants. These are gone. So we just need these. I actually only had like 20 of these. But I know that the minister liked it and he mentioned it. And but he also has one of these as well. So get your coin, get your commemorative Elijah coin. This is an investment. This is an heirloom. This is something you can pass down. And trust me, this is going to be worth a lot of money. Imagine if somebody had did this in the 70s and now you had one of these. Imagine how much it would be worth. And you pass this down to your children because it's literally made of the copper from the messenger's home. And so stay tuned. We've got some very exciting things happening for the month of October as we celebrate the birth anniversary of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We got some powerful shows that we're going to be doing throughout the month of October. So I want you all to stay tuned. That's why I want you to join my mailing list by texting Do For Self. That's DO the number 4 SELF to 855-574-9099. You'll get the information on some of the things that we're doing. Inshallah, we will have our historic marker for the house in the next few weeks. And we'll do, you know me, I celebrate everything. That's just how I show the universe that I appreciate the accomplishments. I start a new business, I celebrate. I get a new product or service, I celebrate. I think in the last month, I've opened up 3 new businesses and I just celebrate. I'll call up my friends and say, hey, y'all, I'm cooking. Hey, let's go out to dinner. Let's celebrate, because it's how I show myself and the universe that I'm grateful for that creative energy. So don't chip and dip me. Okay, make a donation, $ Mo Today. That's MOETODAY, or go to Sajdah House Donations, and inshallah, like Sister Malika just said, I got mine, and she said I got my pendant too, which she did. Let me just tell y'all, this sister right here, I just put up on the screen. I know we gotta go. I just love her. I just love her. I tell you a quick, and she probably don't even remember this. When I first came. I wasn't that old in the nation, and I was working the National Secretary's office, and we had a family day down in Houston. And I think you might remember, sis, we had artists, I think it was like Ice Cube and the OJs or something like that. And myself and Brother Kamal had put that event together along with Minister Ishmael, of course. And I remember when we got to Houston, it was late. We were tired. And this sister I never forgot this. She had food. She loved on us. You know, when you work in the National Secretary's office or, at the National House, sometimes you travel around. People don't like to see you coming. But she was always so beautiful. She just embraced us. And she just was such a loving soul. So that's my shout out to Sister Malika. And I see our guest, Sister Nayyirah, said that she's her mentor. She's amazing. And I just never forgot the loving energy that she gave to me, back in the day. And then even to this day, rolling forward. Just a beautiful, beautiful person. All right, y'all. So peace and blessings. Get your commemorative Elijah coin. Support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. Peace and blessings. We'll see you all. But stay tuned. Make sure you join the mailing list so you know what's happening for the month of October with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House Museum. Peace and blessings.
This is Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39mm coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.